In 1902, a group of archaeologists were exploring the ocean floor near the Antikythera Islands in Greece. During their search, they discovered the remains of an ancient Roman trading ship. Vessels like this were commonly used to transport goods such as treasures, wine, and other valuable items across the Mediterranean. What the archaeologists didn't know at the time was that this particular shipwreck would reveal something far beyond ordinary cargo. An object that would go on to become one of the most puzzling and extraordinary discoveries in human history. As drivers carefully examined the wreck, they found marble statues, pieces of jewelry, and even a wooden box. Inside that box was a strange device, unlike anything they expected. It was so advanced, almost alien-like in appearance, that it changed the way historians thought about ancient civilization and their technology. This was a complex machine made of bronze and shaped somewhat like a circular disc. It later became known as the Antikythera mechanism, but the big questions remained. What exactly did this device do? Who created it? And for what purpose? Even after it was discovered, the answers to these questions remained a mystery. The device itself was made up of bronze gears, dials, and intricate engravings, all enclosed in a wooden and bronze case about the size of a shoebox. Historians began to speculate that it might have been some kind of scientific instrument, perhaps created by a Greek inventor more than 2,000 years ago. What made it even more fascinating was the sheer complexity of its design. The mechanism contained hundreds of gears, switches, and precisely engineered moving parts, remarkably similar to the components we see in modern machines. Over the next century, scientists from all over the world were invited to study it. Yet despite their efforts, none of them were able to fully understand what the device actually was or how it was meant to work. For nearly 100 years after its discovery, the Antikythera mechanism was kept in the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. As technology advanced in the 20th century, a new wave of interest began to grow. Engineers, archaeologists, and scientific experts from around the world came together, determined to unlock the secrets hidden inside this mysterious object. But because it was such a rare and fragile artifact, researchers couldn't simply open it up for examination. Instead, they decided to turn to a more modern approach: X-ray imaging. There was just one challenge. The type of X-ray machine powerful enough to scan the device existed in only one place in the entire world: England. Transporting the mechanism all the way there posed a serious risk. So instead of moving the ancient device, the researchers made the decision to bring the X-ray machine itself from England to the Museum of Athens. Once the equipment was set up and the mechanism was finally scanned, the results astonished everyone present. Historians, scientists, and examiners were left speechless as they began to see the intricate inner workings of the device revealed in detail for the very first time. The level of technology used in this device was so advanced that building something like it more than 2,000 years ago should have been impossible. In fact, many researchers now consider it to be the world's very first computer. On the front of the mechanism was a large circular dial that displayed all 365 days of the year, functioning as a calendar. Inside that dial was another, a zodiac dial, showing the 12 signs of Greek astrology. There was also a rotating hand that indicated specific dates. On the back of the device were two spiral dials, each designed to track different astronomical cycles. The first was the Metonic cycle, a 19-year period in which the phases of the moon repeat almost exactly. This dial was capable of accurately predicting the phases of the moon. The second spiral represented the Saros cycle, a cycle lasting 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours, used to forecast both solar and lunar eclipses. With this dial, ancient astronomers could predict not only when an eclipse would occur, but also the type of eclipse with impressive accuracy. Inside the device, researchers found 47 interconnected gears, all crafted with extreme precision. These gears were used to simulate the movements of the sun, the moon, and the other planets. The largest gear was connected to the front dial, showing the movement of the sun. Smaller gears simulated the irregular motion of the moon, proving that ancient engineers understood complex systems such as epicyclic gearing. Other gears tracked the positions of Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, the 5 planets known to Greek astronomers at the time. One of the most surprising features of the mechanism was a built-in calendar for the Olympic Games, which were held every 4 years. This revealed that the device was not only an astronomical instrument, but also had cultural and civic importance in ancient Greek society. The gearing system was so advanced that nothing similar appeared again until the mechanical clocks of the 14th century, nearly 1400 years later. And even those clocks were nowhere near as sophisticated. The level of precision was so extraordinary that it almost seemed as though a modern engineer had created it. The Antikythera mechanism is a strong evidence that ancient civilizations were capable of technologies far beyond what we usually imagine. It is now recognized as the world's first known computer, capable of performing astronomical and scientific calculations. The fact that such a machine existed more than 2,000 years ago remains one of history's greatest mysteries, one that continues to puzzle and fascinate scientists and historians to this day. But this wasn't the only mystery that was way ahead of its time. In 1912, a Polish writer named Wilfrid Voynich was checking out an old library in Italy called Villa Mondragon. While looking through thousands of old books, he found one that would turn out to be one of the biggest mysteries in history. The book didn't have a cover or even a title. And the strangest part? It was written in a language nobody had ever seen before. The symbols didn't match any known writing system, and they didn't look like anything from an ancient civilization. Voynich bought the book, and from then on he spent his life trying to figure out its strange diagrams, drawings, and that unknown language. Questions began to pile up in his mind. Who could have written this book? When was it made? Where did it come from? And the biggest question of all, what does it actually say? By the time the 1930s came around, Voynich had passed away, never learning a single secret hidden inside its pages. The book would later be called the Voynich Manuscript, and over the years it changed hands from one cryptographer to another. Yet, no matter who studied it, no one could crack the code. Even with today's advanced cryptography, the manuscript still refuses to give up its secrets, and that's what makes it so mysterious. The language in this book doesn't exist in any record of human history. No known civilization has ever used it. That leaves 2 possibilities. The first, it may have come from a lost civilization, one that disappeared completely, leaving behind no trace of their language. The second, it could have been created by a single person, or perhaps a secret group, written in a code that only they could ever understand. And then there are the illustrations. Some pages contain drawings of plants that don't match anything we've ever identified anywhere else in the world. But what's most surprising are the drawings that seem to match modern discoveries, things humanity simply didn't know about at the time. One page, for example, shows an image that looks strikingly similar to a spiral galaxy. Yet at that point in history, people had no knowledge that galaxies even existed. On another page, the drawings look like plant cells. But here's the problem. The microscope wasn't invented until more than 250 years after this book was written. So, was the author somehow aware of advanced knowledge far ahead of its time? Carbon dating tells us the manuscript was created sometime between 1408 and 1428, and when researchers examined it under a microscope, they discovered something even more surprising. Across all 260 pages, there wasn't a single mistake. No corrections, no overwritten words, no errors at all. The question is, how could anyone, by hand, write such a long book without making a single error? Today, the Voynich manuscript is kept at Yale University inside the Voynich Rare Book and Manuscript Library. It's considered one of the most mysterious books ever discovered. Every few years, new researchers and codebreakers try to solve it, but so far, no one has. All of them fail. When we talk about the most advanced and precise ancient structures, the Great Pyramid of Giza stands at the very top. This isn't just a massive pile of stones. It holds secrets that continue to puzzle scientists and historians to this day. And when you look closely at its alignment and astronomical connections, the pyramid seems to be pointing to something much deeper. The Great Pyramid is located almost exactly at the geodetic center of all the Earth's landmass, meaning if you calculated the center point of all the continents, this structure sits astonishingly close to it. And it was built at a time when there were no maps, no GPS, not even the basic tools we rely on today. To build it, around 2.3 million limestone blocks were used, weighing anywhere from 2 tons to as much as 80 tons each. Many of these massive blocks were transported from quarries nearly 500 miles to the south, and yet the wheel hadn't even been invented at that time. It came nearly 300 years later. Even with today's advanced technology, lifting an 80-ton object is no easy task. Modern cranes and steel cables struggle with stones that size, and ancient Egyptians only had papyrus ropes, far weaker than anything we use now. What's even more surprising is how the stones were placed. No glue, no cement, no concrete. Each block was cut with such precision that not even a sheet of paper can fit between them. The question is, how did ancient Egyptians cut such hard stone with such accuracy? History tells us they used copper tools. But when modern researchers tried the same method, even days of work barely made a dent. Another experiment, using a specifically designed copper chisel, achieved just 4 millimeters of cut after hours of effort. At that rate, carving 2.3 million blocks would have taken more than 300 years. Yet somehow the entire pyramid was completed in just 20. And the mysteries don't stop there. The alignment of the Great Pyramid is almost perfectly true north, with an error of just 0.067 degrees. For comparison, the Paris Observatory, built in 1667 using modern methods, shows an error of 0.1 degree. Even thousands of years later, we still haven't matched that level of precision. When you look at the 3 pyramids together, their layout mirrors the stars of Orion's belt, a constellation deeply connected to the Egyptian god Osiris, the god of the underworld and resurrection. Some researchers believe this alignment was intentional, built to guide the pharaoh's soul to the stars. And the pyramid even interacts with the sky in real time. On 2 specific days every year, the spring and autumn equinox, it creates an optical illusion, appearing to have 8 sides instead of 4, an effect visible only when the sun is directly above the equator. Proof that the ancient Egyptians had a level of astronomical knowledge we've only recently come to understand. Then there's one final strange coincidence. The latitude of the Great Pyramid is 29.9792 degrees north. Those numbers almost exactly match the speed of light in meters per second, 299,792,458. Is that just chance? Or could ancient civilizations have had access to knowledge we still can't explain? Science doesn't have a definitive answer. But one thing is clear. The Great Pyramid is not just stone stacked in the desert. It is a celestial calculator, an astronomical observatory, and one of the greatest engineering marvels in human history.